Hey, this is Mass X with a brand new Jujutsu Kaisen fan parade video and Heaven Burns Red video. Why would I do that? Well, we're going to talk about how to do a launch and how not to do a launch. So, if you're a JJK fan and parade player, then you know the trials and tribulations that's gone on with that. And if you haven't tried out Heaven Burns Red, it's a really good game. I've been touting it previously. I played the Japanese version until I got tired of translating it, so I was excited that there's finally a global launch. But let's do some comparisons here to show how easy it could have been to have done it properly. Now, first off, Heaven Burns Red has been out for over 2 years in Japan, okay? JJK had only been out a year upon its release, okay? Now, when HBR came out, they released 3 chapters at launch, right out of the gate. That was one more chapter than Japan when it launched. And the chapters in this game are long, okay? Long. So they also did, okay, something that was absolutely amazing, which JJK should have done. When they launched HBR in the US, or globally I'll say, they released with a version of the game from this past year, okay? So that means all the quality of lives were in there. All that good stuff was already in it for the most part. JJK, Phantom Parade, didn't. They did just a couple tweaks. They could have easily held off if they needed to, or released a newer version of the game. It doesn't mean you have to open up all the content, okay, that's at that time. So, unless of course the coding is crap, which we won't even talk about at this point. So yeah, right there, major significant differences. If all the quality of lives that came out in JJK, that were already in place in the Japanese version of Phantom Parade, like what they did with HBR for the most part, right there, that's a win, okay? Now, one of the biggest complaints from people, of course, was banners, okay? Now, when HBR released, there was a lot of banners, a lot more than there are right now. Right now, there's 3 active banners, but there was upwards of 5+ banners, a ton, just like JJK's been doing. But here's the difference, okay? When HBR released, they put, 47 of the highest ranked, the SS ranked Memoria in the general pool, period. When the game started, it only had 12. Phantom Parade didn't. Yes, both games are going to have their limited banners, but Phantom Parade, as we know, brought in banners which don't fall in the general pool right away. So think about that for a second. If you were a Phantom Parade player, think about it. If they still flood us with banners, fine, whatever. But let's say everything but the movie one was automatically going to go in the general pool immediately once the banner completed or was already there. It takes the stress out of everything knowing those characters are there. And that's what was pretty remarkable with HBR. See where I'm going with this one? It's not easy. I should say this. It's easy if you plan properly to get your launch right, if you want to have your game come out much further ahead than how it originally came out. Okay, and it's just so painfully obvious. Something else which was crazy, which they did at the start, was they dropped a bunch of events that are automatically in there. Okay, automatically, they're not going anywhere. Think about that if you were on JJK Phantom Parade and you knew those events were going to be permanent. Even if they're not permanent for an extended period of time, and people having to rush, worry about stamina, this and that. And then on top of it, you can see there's always times threes. In the first month HBR was out, there was 3 events that I remember at a minimum that had times 3 drops for tokens during that time period. We have barely gotten that in JJK. Again, see where I'm going with this one. These are all easy things that could have been done. And I know one of the biggest sticklers, which is one that I actually will stick up for the developers to a certain degree, is the pity system. The pity system in HBR was 200 in Japan. They actually started it at 150 globally, which is absolutely amazing because that generally doesn't happen. As we know with Phantom Parade, it's at 250 and it hasn't changed, nor since they didn't give us the version of the game that had it yet, at least the pity tickets. See where I'm going? How to do it right, how to do it wrong. HBR has really done a great job with their global launch, in my opinion, and really shows the glaring weakness of the publisher and developer in really properly planning this out. You can still drop all those banners. You can still leave your stamina how it is. You can still do all the things you want to do. But if you would have just done a few of the things that I've already talked about, you would not have had the uproar that you've had. And that's kind of my point of this video. It's a real shame because I really like both games. I love HBR. I really like Phantom Parade. Like I've said times again, I've got 2. I'm playing 2 versions. I still play the Japanese version. Been playing it for a year, and I'm playing the global version, okay? I like the game. I love it. And I love it because it's not my main game. It's not a grinder game. It's a game that doesn't manipulate a ton of your time if you play it the way it's meant to be played. And that's one of the other big things that has happened in this, where the publishers and devs have let people push them around to a certain degree, thinking we need more content. The tower should never have dropped now, okay? Never, okay? Or it could have dropped, but it wouldn't open, say, for you had to be at a certain level or had a certain something, okay? Like most games do. So, you know, there's areas in this game that still aren't open for me, like orb bosses, okay? Yes, we got the one of the newer versions when it came out, HBR globally, but that doesn't mean I have access to everything because I have to finish. Like I'm still have to finish Chapter 4, which just dropped about a week ago. I take my time with this game. This game has so much content in it, but again, similar to Phantom Parade, I don't feel rushed. I want to enjoy it. I want to be able to enjoy the story. I want to be able to enjoy the gameplay, and that's with JJK. It's just they got you tense from between the community as well as the publisher and developers. They all got everybody so worked up and everybody pushing to get everything done. Like even in that game, I do tower. Sometimes I don't do tower every day. Sometimes I do 1 or 2, but I don't try to burn through all of it. I don't try to build all my characters immediately. I only do who I want to do. And if I want to add somebody, then I add them. Completely casual. And that's why I love both of these games. They're completely different games, but they are very similar. And the moral of the story is Phantom Parade really planned this out poorly. I give 10% of the blame to the community for just honestly not understanding the game. And I give 90% of it to the staff. And when I say staff, I'm referring to the publisher, as well as the developers if they're pulling strings for a lot of this too, which I'm sure they are. Where HBR, the publisher and the developer clearly had a vision on how to get this game so it's not 2.5 years away from what they're releasing, but to do it right so you don't upset your community, you don't make them feel like you are just there for a money grab. And hats off to them. And I believe it's Yostar. They really handled this well. And the proof is in the pudding. And right now, I think the last time I looked, what was it? JJK was around 7 million or so. And they came out close to each other. HBR was like at 5. So yeah. And JJK is a much more huge IP. So that speaks volumes, because if they would have released under a similar format such as HBR, they probably would have made twice the amount of money, honestly. And they just, bad decisions break businesses. Do I think jjkpp is going anywhere? No. IP is way too strong. Way too strong. Do I think it is just a cash grab? No, I don't. I really think they want to get it close to Japan. It makes it easier for the content drops and everything. And it makes it very just simple and smooth sailing for Billy, the publisher. But yeah, bad choices. So the good news is things are calming down. There's supposed to be some big news coming this week in reference to Phantom Parade. But with that, if you haven't tried Heaven Burns Red, I highly recommend it if you like good, strong stories. It has a very interesting gameplay subset to it, where it's 3 characters in the front and 3 that are on the sidelines. It's a fun game. Kudos. I'm glad it's around. I'm glad it's in global, and I hope more people get to experience it, because it is worth your time and investment if you really do enjoy strong stories. And quite honestly, so far a very strong publisher and developer behind it right now for the global version. So with that, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Have a great day.